2024 is almost over, and if you're like most people, you probably started the year off strong and then fizzled out as the year went on and the excitement of your goals faded. Chances are by the second month of the year, you fell victim to your old habits and your old behaviors, either because you weren't seeing results fast enough or because it was just too hard and it was a lot more work than you were expecting it to be. There are just over 100 days left in 2024, and personally, I'm over the idea that you can only make this resolution at the beginning of the year. How do you expect to start 2025 off on a high note when you end 2024 disappointed in what you achieved, feeling defeated and discouraged? That feeling isn't just going to change overnight. You're not just going to suddenly feel massive amounts of ambition and motivation as the clock strikes 12 on January 1st. Sure, there is an excitement in the air and a bit more support in knowing that nearly everyone else around the world is embarking on new goals, but what is the point in waiting? You haven't been doing anything you've been saying you're going to do, and now you're just waiting for some arbitrary goalpost to start all over again. The best time to start is now. Always. In this video, we're going to go over how to make the best of the rest of your year and end your year on a high note, feeling beyond capable of achieving anything and everything you set your mind to. If you are new here, hi, my name is Robbie, and I make videos for you that I wish I had when I was stuck in the same unfulfilled, discouraged cycle year after year. So if you're ready to make a change and live a life you are proud of, you should probably subscribe and spend some time on my little corner of the internet. I think you'd really like it. The first thing that you need to do, and if you haven't done it yet, what are you doing? Get out of your victim mentality and stop blaming external circumstances for where you are in life. You are the only person who has control over your life. I'm going to keep reiterating it until you get that into your head. You are the only person who can decide what you do on a daily basis. There is no one and nothing to blame for your shortcomings other than you. And the sooner you realize that, the sooner you'll feel compelled to make a change and actually do something worthwhile with your life. I've been in a space in my life where I've blamed other people, I've blamed bad timing, blamed imperfect scenarios, and the only place that got me was in my miserable, unfulfilled cycle that I was stuck in for years. It is so easy not to take accountability for the current state of our life. It's so easy to put all of that responsibility onto other people because it hurts to look at ourselves, especially when we are not doing everything we know we can be doing. It is so hard to look at ourselves when we continue dishonoring what we want and disrespecting our potential. When we continue putting everything we want and everything we need to the side to make room for the things that we have always done that have gotten us nowhere. No one is coming to put in the work for you. No one is coming to make the changes for you. No one is coming to save you from yourself. And no one did anything to get you to where you are right now. You did it. And if you can't look at yourself and take that accountability, then be ready to stay stuck, unfulfilled, and miserable for the rest of your life. If you're not ready to drop that victim mentality, God bless you. Good luck. You're not going to get very far. You need to accept the fact that your life isn't where you want it to be, and it is no one's fault but your own. So I hope you get that into your head. Next thing, you are going to ask yourself every single day how bad you want it. There are going to be days, and they may even be the majority of your days, where you're going to face roadblocks. You're going to be faced with trials and difficulties, and you're going to be faced with the decision to either push past this moment of adversity or to allow the weakest version of yourself to take over and revert back to your old behaviors, to your old patterns, to your old ways of thinking, to your old ways of being. On those days when everything is telling you to stop and quit and give up, you have to have a way to combat that. I personally like to have a dialogue consistently running in my mind, not only reminding me that I don't want to return to the person that I was. I don't want to return to that life that I was miserable in. I don't want to never accomplish the big goals and the big dreams that I have set out for myself, but also reminding myself how much I want this, how much I haven't been able to go a day without thinking about it, how incomprehensible it would be for me to give up and fail. That is not an option. And I've said this before, but if you watch my videos, you are not allowed to revert back to the old you. If you are sitting here actively seeking ways to better yourself, then it is time to better yourself. This isn't a, oh, maybe I'll do this tomorrow thing. It is time for you to make a change, and I simply will not allow you to falter and allow your weak, undisciplined, lazy, unmotivated self to take over and reel you back into your old life, and you simply should not allow that for yourself. You know what you are capable of. You know what you want to achieve. You know what your goals are. You know that you are sick of not doing the things that you keep saying you're going to do. And you know that it would drive you absolutely crazy to return to that weak version of yourself. So how bad do you want it? You have to work on dropping fear. Nobody cares about what you're doing. Literally right now, go and do something that you're scared of and watch how easy it is. We often hold ourselves back by working things up in our mind to be a lot scarier than they actually are, to be a much bigger deal than they actually are, to be a lot more serious than they actually are. The majority of the time, the thing that you're not doing and the thing that you just keep putting off seems unconquerable and daunting solely because you keep putting it off. You've just built up all of this anxiety, all of this fear around this task, around this situation, around this thing that you want to work towards, when in reality, if you had just done it when you first had the idea to do it, you would have realized that it really wasn't that bad. You would have realized that nobody cares what you are doing. Truly. When I started my YouTube channel, I thought all of my former acquaintances, all of these people who used to be in my life, would come out of the woodwork and talk badly about me and comment on my videos telling me I'm a phony and I have no idea what I'm talking about. None of that happens. None of that has ever happened to me. And it's because people don't care about you. I know that sounds so insensitive, but truly it releases so much pressure from you. People are inherently self-centered, and the only things they care about are themselves and things that affect them. What you're doing doesn't really affect them whatsoever. The only reason they would comment on what you're doing in your own life is if they're miserable in their life and jealous of you. So you can rest assured knowing that if you get hate comments, that person is the worst of the worst. So who cares what they have to say anyways? Number 4, practice positive self-talk. We're all running a negative internal dialogue. It is just human programming to gravitate towards a negativity bias and to gravitate towards the things that aren't good and that aren't working and the failures that you're experiencing. And we do this because for our entire lives, everything and everyone around us is focused so strongly on the bad, the negatives, the failures. It's not often that you hear the news talking about something good. It's not often that your parents praise you for getting good grades instead of berating you for getting a D on that test. It's not often that you hear people expressing gratitude for having the opportunity to live another day. You frequently hear people dreading their Monday morning or joking about how they wish they didn't wake up because everything is so stressful and life is so hard. This has just been programmed into us, and it is such a strong programming. It can be super difficult to fight against it because it's what we've been experiencing for our entire lives. It's important that you start practicing positive self-talk every single day. Literally going into battle with that negative self-talk and that negativity bias that has just been running your mind for as long as you can remember. It's so important that you can become self-aware and recognize when that negativity is taking over and when you feel yourself starting to gravitate towards the negatives versus the positives. And in that moment, instead of allowing the weakest part of yourself to take over, you push back and you fight against it and you introduce that positive self-talk. You recognize the good, you find some gratitude, you find some appreciation, and you speak kindly to yourself. And it might feel weird because it's not something we're used to doing. We're used to telling ourselves that we're not good enough and saying things like, of course we failed trying to start our fitness journey because we're just not disciplined. And who were we thinking that we could do that? That is going to be the negative self-talk that tries to take over. And it is your job to go into war with it, to fight that fire, to fight that misery, to fight that sadness, that anger with love and kindness and respect and gentility. And with the knowing that you are capable and you are strong and you aren't your thoughts. And when you put your mind to something, you freaking go out and achieve it. No shiny object syndrome allowed. Pick one thing and focus on it. This hinders so many people from achieving anything because there's always something new they could go for. There's always something more exciting they could strive for. And so every time they get into a good groove with something, they get distracted by something else and then they start that other thing and the cycle continues. And they never do something for a long enough period of time to where they could achieve mastery and success at that thing. There was a good period in my life where I was insanely distracted by shiny object syndrome. I was constantly scrolling and constantly trying to figure out what I should do and what's a new thing. I was always trying new things and hoping that something would work for me. But in reality, what I needed to do and what you need to do is just pick one thing and go all in on it. Put every single bit of your energy on that one thing instead of getting distracted by the possibility of achieving all of these other things too. This also falls a little bit in line with people who are multi-passionate. And I want to make a whole separate video on multi-passionate people. I consider myself multi-passionate, and I think for a really long time I couldn't decide what to do because I wanted to do everything. And I felt like if I chose one thing, I would be abandoning all of the other things that made me me. This really isn't the case at all. When you choose one thing, it does not mean that all of a sudden all of the other things that make you you are non-existent. All it means is right now, we are being a little bit realistic about which one of the things you're passionate about will actually bring you happiness or financial success or whatever it is that you are striving to achieve. All of those other things are still a part of your life and they still make you you. All of those other things that you're getting distracted by, maybe you could try, but in this chapter of your life, all of those distractions need to take a back seat and you need to focus on the one thing that beats out all the others. Six. This is the second time I've gotten confused between 5 and 6. Pretty sure it's 6. Put the things that you don't want to do first on your to-do list. It's about time you build up some damn discipline. I can almost guarantee you that the reason you're unhappy with your life is because you keep telling yourself you're going to do the things and then what? And then not doing them. You have no discipline whatsoever. You keep telling yourself you're gonna go to the gym, but then when your alarm goes off and you have to wake up early before work, it's a lot easier to just stay comfy and cozy in bed than to force yourself to get up and do the thing that you really don't want to do, but that you know is going to make you feel so good about yourself. You keep telling yourself you're going to start the YouTube channel, but then when you sit down to film, you get distracted by the fact that you haven't put the laundry in the dryer yet, that there's some dishes on the counter that need to be done. And instead of forcing yourself to sit down and film, which is the hard thing, you decide that you want to take that quick hit of dopamine, that little dopamine snack, and you get distracted, and then suddenly it's the end of the day and you haven't filmed, and then you're upset with yourself because you didn't film, and then the cycle continues. The only reason that the thing that you want to do is hard is because you're not getting an immediate reward from it. The only reason that it's so hard to go to the gym is because you're not going to wake up the next day with a fat ass. The only reason that it's so hard to film a YouTube video is because you're not getting that instant gratification of millions of subscribers, of millions of views. The only reason it's so hard is because your reward center doesn't go, woo! This is amazing, I love this. There's no instant gratification. It might be a challenge for a really, really long time to stay disciplined and do the hard thing. It might constantly be a battle. Even for me, sometimes I'll sit down to script something and I'll get distracted and I'll go check the school community, or I'll go reply to some YouTube comments, or I'll answer some emails, because that will give me that quick hit of dopamine that I am craving. Always, always, always do the hard thing first. It's not going to give you that quick hit of dopamine that we're all so addicted to. But in the long run, you're going to be a lot more proud of yourself and a lot happier that you forced yourself to do the thing that you really did not want to do. Last, but certainly not least, I really hope that you're still here because this one you need to hear. Do not compare your chapter 1 with someone else's chapter 20. A lot of us, myself included, we'll get discouraged when we go to start something new because we will compare ourselves and we will get inspiration from someone who we consider a master of whatever it is we're looking to do. And we think that it'll bring us inspiration and motivation, but in reality, it usually makes us insanely discouraged. And I only chuckle because it has happened to me so many times. Because reaching that level is now what we consider succeeding at that thing. And the reality of the situation is we have a lot of work that we need to do before we reach that level. And that person that you were admiring also did a lot of work before they reached that level. It seems like this huge, unconquerable mountain of work and effort and energy, and there's parts of the mountain that are totally unknown to us. And they're scary and they're overwhelming. And as soon as we feel all of those feelings, we get so discouraged and scared, and we start to feel like an imposter because we're not even remotely close to where that person is. How could we even fathom that we could get there? It seems like it's impossible. There's so many things we have to do. There's so many things we don't know. It's not even worth trying. That is exactly the narrative that happens in your mind when you compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. That's the narrative that happens when you compare yourself to anyone. It is impossible to compare yourself to someone else. You are unique, you are special, you are you, you are one of one. There is nobody else in this world like you, and you shouldn't want to be like anybody else. Yes, you can garner inspiration from them, of course, but the only person you should be comparing yourself to is the person that you were yesterday. The only person you should be trying to be better than is the person that you were yesterday. If you like this video, I have another video for you that you will really, really like. And if you like content like this and you want to get connected with people who are on the same journey as you, I will link my school community in the description. If you want to support me and the channel and get some extra goodness like summaries of my videos, my workout routines, and nutrition tips, my Patreon is also linked in the description. I also have a very surprising announcement coming up within the next week, and I can't wait to share it with you guys. I think you're absolutely going to love it. I absolutely love you, and I will talk to you very, very soon.